Hello, welcome to the latest property market update. Today is the 1st of July, so we're now looking at the first 6 months in NG31 of 2026, isolating that down into monthly performance as well for the area. How does that look compared to what we would have seen perhaps in the same sort of period last year, to try and give a bit of an insight and insight into what's going on, and also what sort of property selling and how does the trends look. There's some encouraging news on the trends. There's little high points in there. There's a couple of low points as well. There's a lot of available stock, which I'll also touch on in a little bit more detail as well, to try and make this as useful as possible. There's a couple of things I think just to highlight as well. There's a lot of talk this week about the government looking at reforming the house buying and selling process, which is, in my opinion, long overdue. It's something which is currently a roadmap that they're putting down. It's not going to be an overnight fix. The talk is 2028, 2029 sort of time before anything really comes into play. And what it probably looks like is it's about speeding up transactions, making fall-throughs less likely, giving buyers, I suppose, much more information at the outset, and trying to reduce the amount of lost time and money that goes through the housing market. You know, at the moment, 24% of properties which are sale agreed fall through. And sometimes that's down to the chain arrangements, sometimes that's down to things within people's control, sometimes it's down to things outside of people's control, such as change of relationship statuses and health, wealth, and everything else that goes with it. So I wanted to touch on this really just to give you a bit of an overview as to what that looks like, but it's not going to be an immediate thing. It's certainly no reason for you to put plans on hold for 2 or 3 years if you are looking to move. Sales in the month of June 2026 were 75 in NG31. With a whopping 135 new instructions. To quantify that, 75 at the minute sits just above where it was in January with 73, and ahead of May where it was 63, so that was a particularly tough month. That was the quietest month of the year so far, May, but behind the likes of March and April, which are into the 70s, and February is actually the standout month at the moment, even though it's the shortest month of the year with 80 sales. But to compare it to last year in May, there was 94 sales, but ironically it was actually bang on line with last year's June sales at 75. The 135 new instructions is a big number. That's the biggest number of new instructions into the market in any month in the last 13. So that shows that there's an awful lot of sellers who are wanting to execute moves, and that's not a bad thing. What it has meant though is that available stock is huge. Today, as we stand up, as of the latest data, then yesterday, there was 434 properties available to buy in Grantham. That doesn't include what's sold. That doesn't include new builds. That's resale stock. That grew from 396 at the end of May, which grew from 368 at the end of April, which grew from 342 at the end of March and February. And if we look back to the same period last year, 30th of June 2025, there was just 306 properties available. So, you know, almost 130 more new properties, so probably about 40% more available stock. So buyers have got choices. Some of the pricing points where choice is available, well, if you're selling a property at the minute between 150 and 200,000 pounds, there are 98 properties available to buy today. 67 between 200 and 250, 50 between 250 and 300, with another 40 between 300 and 350. So the bulk of that 434, I would say probably a good 360-ish of them are between 0 and 350,000 pounds. And obviously the Grantham market typically is quite active between 100 and 300 under normal circumstances. And the sales data for June also backs that up as well. There were 7 sales between 0 and 100,000 pounds, with 6 listings and 11 price reductions. Between 100 and 150, there was 12 sales, 24 listings, and 17 price reductions. So again, more price reductions than sales. 150 to 200, which is where the most available stock is, there was 19 sales, which tells me we've got 5 months worth of stock already in the marketplace at the minute, without adding any new listings into the equation as well. 34 new instructions and 37 price adjustments, so almost double the amount of price adjustments as there was sales agreed. In the 200 to 250 section, there was 17 sales, so this is probably the best balanced section of the market at the moment. 17 sales, 17 listings, and just 8 price reductions. And today there stands at 67 properties available between 200 and 250. Between 250 and 300, there was 10 sales, 23 new instructions, and 12 price adjustments. Between 300 and 350, there was just 3 sales, 13 new listings, and 9 price adjustments. So, 4 times more listings than sales in June in 300 to 350 zone, and 3 times more price adjustments. And as we go into the upper echelons of price point, there was 1 sale between 400 and 450, 1 between 450 and 500, 1 between 500 and 550, and 2 at £600,000 plus. They're a very different marketplace to the core market of Grantham. The average price in the Grantham area is about £230,000. So I tend to look much more at that sort of zone because that's much more appealing to what my clients are interested to know. If you want to discuss anything in more detail, always happy to arrange video call, face-to-face meeting, or a telephone call. And just a couple of other things to worth note: at the end of July, the base rate of interest is being discussed by the Bank of England. Whilst it's expected the base rate will remain the same, what I am seeing from my mortgage advisors is that lenders are chipping the rates. Now, hopefully the chipping away of rates will continue to encourage more people towards the market, because a lot of these people who are sellers at the minute will become buyers, but of course they need a buyer to become a seller. But thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to speaking to you at some point very, very soon.